Alright, boys and girls, we're going to get started on our sponge painting poinsettias today. I wanted to show you a finished example just to show you that some of my poinsettias might go off the page, some of my poinsettias might overlap. It's your art, so make sure you do it your way. I'll put that off to the side, and I'm going to go ahead and grab my red paint that already has a sponge in it. You'll see that these sponges are shaped like those poinsettia leaves. What I'm going to do with that sponge is I am going to very carefully place it in my pile of red paint and very nicely tap, tap, tap. That's going to get all the extra paint off so that there's not too much. And you really can do this without making too much of a mess. Okay, so we dip it in and then we tap, tap, tap. I'll put that paint out of the way, and I'm going to get my paper in front of me. I'm going to think about where I want to start my first poinsettia, and I think I'm going to start it up over here. So all I'm going to do is drop that sponge just like that, and I'm going to press it very lightly. Then I'm going to pick that sponge up. I'm going to move it, and again I'm going to press it very lightly. I don't want to press it too hard because that paint will go everywhere and we'll lose this beautiful texture. So I'm going to pick it up and press it very lightly. I'm going to pick it up and press it very lightly. Now you're going to see that my feather is going up off the page, and that's okay because we'll be able to clean that up, no problem. So I'm going to pick that sponge back up, and I'm going to keep turning it around as if there is a center of the poinsettia that I need to fill. And I'm going to keep pressing very lightly. Now, did you see how I only dipped that sponge one time and I got a complete poinsettia with one dip of paint? Let's count these petals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 poinsettia petals. Now, normally I like to do 7, but it all depends on your art and your choices for your poinsettia. I'm going to go back to my red paint now, and I'm going to drop that right in there carefully. Then I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to tap, tap, tap. Okay, it's important to do that just so that you don't have too much paint on your sponge. All right, I'm going to go back to my artwork, take a look and see where I want to do my next poinsettia. I'm going to drop it carefully, press it with 2 fingers, and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, I'm going to do my best to fill the page, and I've got some great poinsettias started. I'm going to do some that might go off the page here just so that it doesn't look empty. Go back to my red paint, drop it in, and then tap, tap, tap. Go back to my paper. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and since I'm going off the page, I'm going to go back to the other side and do 4, 5. Okay, do you see how I'm kind of filling up the space? I think I'm going to do one right in here. 1, 2, 3, and 4, just to get it off the page. No big deal if I can't fit the whole thing. Excuse me. It looks a little bit empty up here, so I'm going to drop my sponge again and go 1, 2, 3. Excuse me again. Goodness. All right, so my red part of my poinsettias is already done, and what we'll probably do as a class is let this dry, and then when we come back we're going to get green paint. Now with the green paint we're going to use a very similar shape as the poinsettia leaves because some of those poinsettia leaves are green. I'm going to drop that sponge in there, then I'm going to go to the side and go tap, tap, tap. Get some of that extra paint off, and now with my green I'm going to put a few around each poinsettia, just to fill in and give some variety of color and fill in some of that space and give some of that texture. I'm just kind of looking around to try to figure out where I want to put a couple of green leaves. Now you can see my sponge is getting a little bit empty, but I did all of those green leaves just by dipping my sponge one time. That way there's not too much paint on my paper. I have this beautiful texture for my poinsettia leaves. Now it's not finished just yet, because what we're going to do is probably try to add some gold or yellow paint in the middle of the poinsettia so that our flower looks complete. I've got some gold paint right here, and I've got Q-tips. We might use Q-tips, we might use paintbrushes. Very quickly and easily, I'll dip my paint in that, my Q-tip in that paint, and then I'll just make little dots. Let's see if I can zoom in here so that you can see. I'm going to take that gold paint and just make little dots in the middle of my poinsettias. So I'm going to do one there. And I'm going to do little dots right here. Wherever I think the middle of that flower might be is where I'm going to put some little gold dots. Now, boys and girls, when this dries completely, it will be very shiny and very, very colorful. Beautiful poinsettias for the upcoming holiday. Makes a great gift. And we're going to do this in class. We're going to make sure that it's nice and neat and complete. We'll take it to the drying rack, and it will be good.